beyond excited to be joining you all. This has been months in the making. And, I'm so glad that I'm finally able to join everyone here. I see someone posted the link for Coderitis. Yeah. um, but I know we're kind of crunched for time. So I'm going to do an introduction within the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just go ahead and get started. All right. So there we are. And I'm going to put this in presentation mode. Okay. Head nod, Mercy, if you can still see. Cloudinary, also a founder for a Women in Tech meetup group, TechniGal LA. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the presentation. And again, you can follow me on Twitter at Timirah J. You can tweet me if anything sparks your interest throughout the presentation. You can tweet quotes and I'll retweet, and I'm not shy to follow you back also. So feel free to tweet me directly. Also, this is my direct personal email address. If you have any questions going further, feel free to hit me on the timirah.james@gmail.com. And also throughout the presentation or after the presentation, if you have any questions, again, the hashtag is Andela Talks with Cloudinary. So I'm super excited to be talking about this. Personal branding for developers in this day and time is so important. It's so vital for the modern day developer to stand out and to create additional value around themselves. So this is definitely a vital topic, and without further ado, I'm just going to get into it. First, a little more about me. Let's get a little bit more comfortable. Again, I'm a singer-songwriter. I spent most of my life in the music realm. I actually pursued it full time, very steady career in the music industry, and performed at several huge venues throughout the United States. I don't know if any of you know about the Apollo Theater, the Star of Tomorrow in New York. It was a big deal when I was younger, and a lot of different things. So later on, when I made the transition from music to tech, I never really stopped music. So I wrote this song, Coderitis, about my love for tech. And as Mercy said, it's on Spotify and SoundCloud, so you can listen to it there. Another fun fact is I'm a college dropout. And I'm a first year college dropout. So when I made the transition from music to tech, I made the transition all the way. I said, hey, this is something I want to do. I want to pursue tech, and to do that, the pathway is to go to college and major in CS. Got there, dropped out first year. So after that, I actually became self-taught in the area of iOS development. That was my passion. Mobile development was my absolute passion. And as I was putting together this presentation, I realized I've been doing iOS development for 7 years now. So that's even crazy to even think about. And so I started my iOS career here in LA. And once I moved to LA, I discovered the tech community here in LA. So I began to be involved with the hackathon organizers in the area, began to organize some of my own hackathons, mentor, do workshops, and eventually get to a place where I started my own meetup group, as I saw, of course, there was a huge gender gap in a lot of the events and tech related activities. So what started out to be this little meetup back in 2014 that was created for high school aged girls to get them more interactive and engaged in, you know, STEM related things. That ended up turning into 5 years later, over 600 women of all ages and all experience levels. And we do free coding workshops. Everything we do is free. Free coding workshops, panels, where this year we're starting our own internal hackathons, and all sorts of things, all free. And there are a lot of exciting things. So as I was organizing these events and, you know, managing TechniGal, I was also still working full time as an iOS engineer. And then I stumbled across this little career path called developer evangelism. And I had no idea that this was actually a career path. And, you know, the moment I figured out that I could actually get paid doing what I really love to do, which is continue to be an engineer, but also still be embedded and, you know, very much involved in the tech community, I was all in. I was like, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. So fast forward several evangelism roles later, I end up here. But I've definitely been hitting the ground running here at Cloudinary. So that's a little bit about me. Whoops. Okay. So last year, or I would say last month, everyone was doing their 2018 recaps. And, you know, I did this is a few photos from my 2018 recap I did on Twitter. And I realized I actually did a lot. On the far left, you see I spoke at KubeCon on a serverless topic. I was in Copenhagen. I organized or helped put together and mentor a hackathon at Abbey Road Studios in London. That was the very first music tech hackathon that was hosted at the studio, so it was very historic. And up top, you see me giving a talk at AltConf, which is right next door to WWDC. If any of you guys know about WWDC, it's Apple's major tech event where they do all their announcements and updates on their language Swift. So, and a bunch of other different things. So I had a very busy year, and right in the middle, you see I was featured in a major publication online talking about, you know, my career, my brand, and just my whole journey throughout tech. So all of these different things and opportunities really stemmed from me stumbling into this career path, because I, all along, you know, even before I had the title, I was organically and unknowingly creating my personal brand. So that really, me being involved in the tech community and being as outward and involved as I was, ultimately led to a whirlwind of opportunities, even aside from the company roles that I had with evangelism. I had so many other opportunities that were coming towards me because I was building a personal brand. So you're gonna keep hearing me say personal brand, and you know, some people know what a personal brand is, and some people, they kind of know, and they're just like, okay, what's the difference between a professional brand and a personal brand? I love how this company or this website kind of put it, so I'm gonna read it verbatim because this is absolutely perfect. It says, a personal brand is the unique combination of skills, experience, and personality that you want the world to see you as. It is the telling of your story, and it reflects your conduct, behavior, and spoken and unspoken words and attitudes. So in a nutshell, that basically means building your personal brand is essentially just you living out your career You know, and notice I put in bold your skills, your experience, your personality, and the telling of your story. As developers, we tend to lean on our skills and our experience, and we think that's enough to get us in the door. You know, sometimes that's what people often tell us, you know, when we're going in for interviews, that's the first thing they ask about, right? You know, how much experience, you know, what languages and what skills do you have, you know, and we think that everything is based upon that, but it's really the collective combination of your skills, experience, and your personality, as well as how well you tell your story and how it reflects what you do. So basically, if you've successfully built your personal brand, people should be able to align your skill set with your purpose, with your journey. So that means that if someone can identify you by name, they should already be able to associate your skill set, your purpose, and also know a little bit about your journey as well, all in one. And that is super powerful. That's so valuable. That's like a power pack, right? That's almost like a product, right? So why is that valuable for a developer? Several things. Several reasons, right? Why do developers need a personal brand? Well, for one, there's so many developers out there, right? And let other people tell it, because there are so many, you know, unfilled positions, you know, there aren't enough. But as we know, the developer community around the world is super saturated, especially around popular frameworks, you know, popular technologies. And so it's super saturated and it can be hard to stand out. Once you've built a personal brand, it actually helps attract relevant opportunities. So not just you, let's say in terms of trying to get an opportunity with a company. Instead of you applying and putting your application in a pool of, I don't know, 100 other developers, you know, maybe building a personal brand increases your chances of this company actually coming to you with the opportunity. And not just that company, but other people and other associations that are more relevant, not only to your skill set, again, but more so your journey. So not just where you are right now, but where you're trying to go, what makes sense. Opportunities that would later serve as a stepping stone to elevate your skill level, elevate your professional level, and also elevate your career as a whole. Another reason is your personal brand is personal to you. Why is that a benefit? Because your brand is not limited by your association. So that means that whatever company, let's say you're at Microsoft, your value is not limited by you being at Microsoft. Your value is your value before Microsoft. Your value is your value during Microsoft. Your value is your value after Microsoft. It belongs to you. So it's not dependent on a specific relationship or a specific association. And that's super valuable, because if you leave a company, you might want to start your own thing, you know, and people won't think less of you because you're not, you know, or you're not as skilled, or you're not the same person, or you don't offer the same, you know, the same valuable perspective as someone at Microsoft, because it's unique to you. So no one or nothing can take away your value. So it goes beyond just a company. So other benefits of having a personal brand is you get to be yourself. So basically, you're supported for being yourself. And there's nothing better than that. You know, an opportunity where you get to be supported, you get to be elevated just for being yourself. There's nothing better than that. There's no role, there's nothing better than that. Also, you have influence. It means you have a voice and you get to control that voice. It can be as big or as small as you want it to be, and it can be present in any communities that you wish to embed it in. Also, community support, which means that whatever community that you're involved in, now, once you've built a personal brand, you have a layer, a foundation of support of people who know what you have to offer, who can offer things based off of what they know your personal brand is. So maybe that might be, you want to build a course. People can offer feedback based off of that. People will support you based off of, again, your perspective. And people will just support based off of what they know your journey is and what they know your perspective is. So that's super, super valuable. Collaboration and contribution is, in a developer's world, is gold. And again, your value is unique to you. So nothing or no one can take this value away from you. So that is something so beautiful, and there's a freedom in that, and that's so powerful, to be able to say, I am an asset, with or without a company, I am an asset with, my perspective, my skill set, who I am, my passion, everything that I bring to the table is unique to me. It doesn't matter if, someone else has the same skill set. It doesn't matter if someone else is in the same field, and, it's not a competition, because your value is unique to you. So that's an awesome thing, and it helps you stand out. So here are a few tips on building your personal brand. I'm going to run through it really quickly. For one, I would say your network is your net worth. You got to tell people. You got to tell people about your skill set. You got to communicate. You have to collaborate with people, so that people may know what your personal brand is, what your journey is, and people are able to align who you are with, again, your skill set, your purpose, and your journey. You have to network. Also, joining and or building a community. I had no idea when I was building TechniGal that I was building a support system for me as well. That I was building a community of people who knew who I was and would support all of my endeavors just based off of, again, the value that I have that is unique to me. So I had no idea I thought I was building a support system for these women, and it was also a support system for me. And it was a resource pool as well. So joining communities, being active in the communities, mentoring, building your own communities, also sharing your work. So that means if you're building an application, don't be shy to tweet it out or talk about it. It doesn't have to be done or anything, having a conversation about what you're doing, again, so that people can follow your journey and stay up to date on your progress, your skill sets, and again, be in tune with your perspective. What goes along with that is creating content. So utilizing your voice, creating a consistent perspective. People want to hear from you, and the more they hear from you and the more they see from you, the more they can align those three things your skill set, your purpose, and your journey. Some people miss this part, creating a signature. Now, I created mine by mistake. Mine happened to be my hair. People know me for the pink hair. I've been pink for 4 or 5 years now. And it literally happened by mistake. And before you know it, I was coming to hackathons and people were already associating, me with my skills. They're like, hey, the girl with the pink hair, that's the iOS mentor. They didn't even know my name. They just knew, like, okay, that signature pink hair, if I ever see her at another event, I know what to look for and I know what to ask her, I know what to talk about. And so that was kind of my first taste also of personal brand, because now people knew the girl with the pink hair is like, that's the iOS expert. So, but it doesn't have to be your look. People create all sorts of digital signatures. So it could be a hashtag, it could be a phrase, it could be something that you include in your personal website or portfolio. So people do all sorts of like stickers and abbeys and something that is custom to them and their brand. So that's also important for staying consistent. And speaking of staying consistent, stay consistent. Stay consistent with all of your messaging, not to say that we all grow and we all evolve. So can your perspective, so can your mindset, your skills, and that is totally fine. But what you don't want to, send is, mixed messages about who you are, what you represent, and what your purpose is. You want people to be as clear as possible so that they can, properly connect with you and properly connect the dots and offer you, the proper support. Number one is being yourself. Again, you can only be, authenticity is the best bet. And notice that I have in the bottom in bold, it's not about being perfect. This whole time I've been saying brand, brand, brand. I have not once said image, because I don't want anybody to get confused and think about, image and image in a sense of having to be perfect or having to put on a facade or, a mask or something like that. The key, none of us are perfect. Absolutely none of us are perfect. The key is to be authentic. Of course, you want to be respectful. You want to be appropriate. But you want to be authentic. You want to be yourself because, again, you want to continue to be unique, and you can only be you. And that is really going to bring out the best results. Okay, so don't focus on trying to be the perfect, have the perfect brand. For my introverts, I mentioned a lot about going out and speaking and networking and creating a community and all these different things, but like, what about the introverts? I realized that there's a huge chunk of developers who are introverts, and that's completely fine. And I say, use your strengths. Use your strengths, so maybe not verbally communicating, but sharing your perspective online may be your route of sharing your perspective or sharing your skill set or showing off, your journey or talking about it. Your best bet is to use the internet to your advantage. But to build an online presence, to build a personal brand, you have to build your online presence. And the best way to do that is through creating content, engaging in conversations. And maybe you don't want to engage in conversations on Twitter all the time. Maybe your personal brand can be supporting other conversations, supporting other people's content. supporting other people's journey. That can also be your personal brand. It has to play to your strengths and who you actually are. You know, don't go outside of yourself and who you are, because then it'll become a job, then it'll become an image, and then it'll become uncomfortable. It's totally fine if you don't know your personal brand yet. You know, some of you might be thinking, okay, I'm good at this. I kind of like that, or I'm into a little bit of everything. You know, I don't know what's specific to me. I don't know what perspective, you know, I don't know what I want the world to look to me for, or I don't know what I want the world to support me for. And that's totally fine. Totally, you don't have to have it all figured out. Lots of us are winging it, you know, and you don't have to have everything totally figured out. So your best bet is to take some time and reflect. Look inside and really think about, you know, not just who you are, but what you want. Is building a personal brand something that you want? And if it is, you have to think about, okay, what exactly am I passionate about? What am I really passionate about? What do I want to showcase to the world? What do I want to share from my behalf? What are my strengths? You know, I might like to do this, like to do that, but what are my strengths? What can I offer that people can look to me and say, hey, this person's good for that? And again, what would I like to be ultimately known for? And so I want to leave you with this quote, which is super valuable, and it will tie into everything regarding personal brand and aligning yourself with your purpose. And it's super simple. So it's not about what you know, and it's not about who you know. It's about who knows what you can do. So I'll repeat it. It's not about what you know, and it's not about who you know. It's about who knows what you can do. And that is what building a personal brand is all about. And that's all. So thank you guys so much.